Jamie, Gillian, welcome to BBC Breakfast. Do you like our green sofa? No, it's not the red sofa. Is it all right for you?
It's not green.
Oh,
yes, it is green.
Sure, it is green.
It's not. It's blue, isn't it?
Welcome to our blue sofa. Do you like the sofa?
It's not blue.
We're here to discuss Series 3 of The Fall.
Shooting was fully justified.
So he's the Belfast Strangler.
Fans of the programme are desperate to know, is this the end? Have we reached the end game, Series 3 of The Fall?
I think that Alan has been working on this for about 5 or 6 years, and it's possible that he might need a bit of a break. I like the idea of maybe revisiting it in a few years.
I want him to live so that he can spend the rest of his life in prison.
In terms of that desire to make sure he sees justice, what we can say about Series 3 is you start in hospital and your character is desperate to keep Spectre alive. Is that because he has to face what he's done at some stage?
Yeah. I mean, it would be devastating for the families for him to get away so easily, to slip into death. I think there really needs to be closure for so many people. And she's worked so hard at this, but she wants to see him stand trial. She wants to see him be put away and to see the consequences of his actions, obviously.
Hello.
How's he doing?
I don't know. He's lost so much blood. It looks like he's dying.
Let me ask you to describe each other's characters.
I think Spectre is fascinated by Gibson. I think there is a sort of obsession of sorts there. I think he's very, actually very impressed by her and the sort of mind that she has and that he thinks he knows so well.
I think that she too is fascinated by Spectre. I think that she's never been in a situation in her career where she's been, where somebody's been as far ahead of her as he gets at various points. And I think that is confounding and infuriating for her, especially, for instance, when he finds her journal and he writes in it, and it's one of the most, I think, humiliating, shameful things that has ever happened in her life, probably.
I think it's interesting to note that he hasn't, as much as he's in police custody and he's injured severely, he hasn't been convicted of anything yet. There hasn't been a trial, a jury hasn't found him guilty, so there's still scope and an area in which he can still use that and play and manipulate as best he can.
Yeah, and I've got to say, there is some spectacular lying down from you in the first episode.
I'm really good at that. Yeah. One of my key skills. So there's definitely a decent amount of lying down. It's quite sore in the back, to be honest.
I think that was the least of your problems, if I remember.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
We won't go into that either.
Bed sores and...
Oh, it's a difficult life, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm not for a second trying to say, that it's a hard thing. It's way harder ways to make a living. I remember one of the props guys saying, I was like, can you please make sure when you put me on that cold, like,
metal
stretcher gurney thing, I said, do you mind just keeping it, like, keeping a couple of rugs on it or something, so that when I get on it, it's not like absolutely.
You never warmed gurney, did you?
Yeah.
No, but I like, it's not. I've heard some pretty awful demands. I mean, asking just for that to not be ice cold, I don't think is too high.
It's hard to watch The Fall, any of the series of The Fall, and have any sympathy for your character.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what's interesting about this, the concept of the show, and I think why there's been a big sort of allure from an audience point of view, is that you know who the killer is from the first 3 minutes of the first episode of the first series. So you're not asking the audience to try to work out who done it.
Often Stella has to remind people, that even though we learn these things, and even though you can be compassionate, and even though you can understand that somebody, that the behaviour like this stems from something horrendous, and therefore one needs to forgive. It's still unforgivable. I mean, it's not unforgivable, but it's so horrendous that you have to remember that he is a serial killer.
But then I've heard people said to me that they have there's been part of them sort of gunning for Spectre at times, which I find really
That is
interesting. Probably says more about them.
Don't take this the wrong way, but
Yes.
I typed Gillian Anderson blouse into Google.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and these are some of the things that came up in the answers. How to rock the power blouse, the world's best blouses, the sophisticated blouses of Gillian Anderson, 6 things I've learned from Stella Gibson's style, and TV's most epic dresses. You've single-handedly, I think, brought back the power blouse. That's quite an accolade, isn't it?
The character has, yeah. Because I can put on the same outfits that Stella wears and it doesn't work. It really, in my own life, I have tried to look as cool as Stella does in her little, you know, separates.
You're both sort of at the top of your game at the moment. Are you in a position where you're sort of fending off scripts and offers for various pieces of TV and film?
I'm very aware of as an actor is that it's very nice to be employed at all. There's that horrible statistic that at any given point there's only 5% of actors employed. So I count myself very lucky and fortunate to be working.
And also, you know, I've got 3 kids, and makes it complicated. You know, in a good way, it's a good complication to have. But very often my decisions are based on how they fit into that schedule.
My kids aren't at school yet, so I have all
You can
that
drag
ahead of
them
me.
everywhere.
They come everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to talk to you both. Thank you very much for joining us on BBC Breakfast. One final point about the colour of the sofa. Surely that jacket is
This
blue.
is blue.
Yeah.
That's true. Do you think?
You accepting?
Still not convinced.
But like seafoam green, you know what I mean? No, blue. So I said, look at that. Look at that.
We're done.
I just
We're sorted.
confess, you're sorted.
This is a
You
magical
got me.
moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great
Thank
to
you.
see you both.
Thank you.
Yeah.